Hey, what's up? It's Fuel Your Life Friday. Let's go. Heyo, happy Friday, you beautiful soul. This weekend coming up is a busy one for sure. For many, it's filled with last-minute shopping, wrapping, parties, and other early celebrations. All of that running around just means that you may be lacking on some self-care. Self-care is a term that gets thrown around a lot, and while I'm a huge supporter of self-care, true self-care doesn't always show up in the forms that most tend to flock to. About a year ago, almost to the date, I did an episode with psychotherapist and mindfulness expert Sheryl Turner. In that episode, we discussed how I had been lacking self-compassion. Over the past year, I learned and implemented so much from all of my podcast guests. But for me, the biggest lesson was that the foundation of self-care is actually self-compassion. So when people say, you need to take some time for yourself, do some self-care, I guarantee what they're actually trying to tell you is, go have some alone time, get a manicure, grab a latte, take you a hot bubble bath. And while self-care is absolutely doing acts that make you feel better mentally, emotionally, physically, even spiritually, we have to look past those consumer-driven self-care acts and get back to the core foundation of self-compassion. So here are 3 things to reevaluate and be mindful of this weekend and ongoing when it comes to revitalizing yourself. First and foremost, take a look at your personal boundaries. Healthy boundaries are a must in life. If you're overextending yourself energetically, emotionally, and or physically, you're likely lacking some healthy personal boundaries. Making time for the people you love and care about is critical. But doing it at the expense of your health, your budget, and even responsibilities is not in alignment with your best self. I recently had to reevaluate if I could make a trip for a friend's event. Now, it would financially burden me, but it would also require me to just have this crazy travel schedule. And that really started to stress me out on so many levels. On one hand, I didn't want to let my friend down. On the other hand, I really didn't want to disrupt my finances or even overstress myself in a situation that I had full control over. So I made the choice to choose what's in the best interest for myself in that situation. And that could to some sound selfish, but it's selfless. And this is not to say that it wasn't hard to tell my friend no. But since I tend to surround myself with grace-filled friends, she understood. Boundaries may not always feel good in the moment, but I promise you the long-term benefits are worth it. Number 2 is to look at the ways that you're overextending yourself. Now, this kind of goes back to personal boundaries if you're the type of person who can do it all or really hates to say no. If you're one of those people, realize that you're doing yourself a disservice by staying so busy. If you're an overgiver, you're also likely lacking in the self-care. I've noticed personally, as a reformed overgiver, I was quick to give, but not so quick to ask for help from others. I'm now way more vocal than I was before to just ask for help. And as a result, I have found myself less stressed. I'm slightly a perfectionist, so dropping the I can do it all perfectionist mentality is something I mindfully work on daily. And finally, coming in hot at number 3, look at your overall health. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you exercising? In this past week's episode, we spoke to Brianna Wilkerson, who also emphasized our gut health and how much of a vital role our gut has to our health. So maybe your self-care this weekend means that you're getting some probiotics and making sure that what you're eating is fueling your body and not depleting it. Self-care is an intentional daily practice. It connects the mind, body, and spirit and helps catapult our lives in a healthy direction. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and be sure to rate the podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you tune in and turn it up. And hey, if you're on social media, let's connect. I seriously love becoming virtual friends with so many of you. Reach out to me. Let's be friends. I'm everywhere on social media at MindBizLife, or you can connect with me on my personal pages at Lauren Smith Biz. That's all for today. I'll see you back here next week. And until then, remember, every level of life is an opportunity to grow. Be well, my friend.